U.S. Deputy Grandmaster Lon DuQuette offered the following talk on the subject of the integrated magical life at Horizon Lodge in Seattle, Washington. This is the 5th part of the talk. Visit our website for a link to the first 4 parts.
I'm a Freemason. We got G's all over the place. G's on the altar and G's up in the east. And I love Ganesha. Okay, I'm not here to be a Ganesha freak or devotee. I'm not really even a Ganesha devotee. I have always had a hard time loving God because I was raised a Methodist. And my mother was, I'm sorry, a real asshole when it came to God. And I have all sorts of God baggage. And whenever I would pray, in the back of my head was this small, mean-spirited, celestial, small-town sheriff that I was praying to, okay? And as much as I knew better and overcame all of that stuff, still I had a hard time. Now, I'm a Thelemite. Okay, I'm an archbishop of my church. I got plenty of gods. Okay, my life is not bereft of gods. I've got Nuit, the goddess of the night sky, the infinity, uttermost expanded. And I've got Hadit, her lover, who is the point, the inscrutable point that has nothing but position in the center of this expanded universe. And because the expansion is everywhere, the center is everywhere. And so they're always doing this. Everywhere. It's just lovemaking on the hugest, and it's so, and that friction, that ecstasy that's going on everywhere is Rahur Kuit. That's their sun, okay, which is the field of operation for all matter and energy to manifest on. It's like the stand-in for our own holy guardian angel. I got gods, okay, I got plenty of them, but they're really abstract. It's hard. I cozy up in Gnostic Mass with Nuit. And my wife is my priestess, and we cozy up too, but we yell at each other all day too, you know. The cold, expanded universe, it's hard to cozy up to for me. And the positionless point, whoa. And Rahur Kuit, I mean, he's like, he pecks at he pecks at Jesus's eyes. What's he going to do to me? You know? Hi, do you want to get cozy? Ah! Yeah. But all of them, either together or singularly, are just metaphors for the big G. So I finally decided, why don't I get an image and a character that represents the big G that I can fall in love with and who I can accept their love back. I can respond emotionally to. I can be devotional to. And I was looking around, and I had a bunch of Ganesha's statues in the house, and I go, you know, I really love Ganesha. He's just so cute. What's not to love? He's got such. He eats candy. He breaks down obstacles. He's very unjudgmental. He helps out with erection problems. He just does it. He just does everything, and he's totally unjudgmental, and he's fun to look at. And I can say, I love you, Ganesha, and I can feel love coming back, and that's what's really important, because this love thing is like a real live energy. It's a real live energy, okay? And but it's a two-way, it's an alternating current. It's a give and a take, a push and a pull. Spirit, the fifth element. There's an active and a passive nature in spirit. That's why there's two kinds of spirit pentagrams, an active one and a passive one. That's because spirit is holding everything together with love. And that same love is holding everything apart so it doesn't smash together into one big soup. Love is and I needed a God where I could imagine myself walking into the presence of deity and feeling that love, being able to give it and receive it. And I just, a few years back, settled on this. He's my Nuit, Hadit, Rahur, Kuit, too, But it's all in the form of Ganesha. I can imagine myself at night crawling into his tent and crawling up and into his trunk and letting him rock me to sleep as I steal a candy, okay? So I decided to devotionally, as in Liber Borelli, pick Ganesha to be my devotional deity. And so I wanted to memorize all 108 of his Sanskrit names, and I figured that was really hard. And Ganesh would understand my laziness. So I thought I'd just do them in English. But even that's pretty hard. And Ganesha would understand. And so I thought, well, maybe I'll just chant his name 108 times. And that'll be my morning mantra yoga thing. And I got myself Hank Henry Anderson in Chicago got me a beautiful rosary, and so that became part of my morning ceremony. So that was all fine and good. And I'd take the rosary with me on the airplane, and I'd be sitting in the airplane, with my rosary and freaking out everybody else on the plane because there's a bearded guy up there with a rosary and he looks like he's going to blow up the plane. And I accidentally left the rosary in the seat back on the plane, and so I was trying to figure out a way how to chant his name. Believe me, there's a point to this. Chant his name 108 times without doing it on my fingers. And I figured that if I did it to the tune of Pop Goes the Weasel, Ganesh, 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 Ganesha, Ganesh, 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 Ganesha, 12. Ganesh, 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 Ganesha, Ganesh, 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 Ganesha, 24. Just do that 4 1/2 rounds of that. You can count on your fingers. There's your 108 right there. Yeah. Then one morning, out in the patio, now we're getting into integrating your magic life. Constance and I, at least at the time, this is now 2 years ago, we woke up one morning and said, let's play monastery for a year or so. And okay, let's do that. So we'd get up in the morning and we'd have like a vow of silence. We wouldn't talk to each other until just before breakfast, when we'd do will before breakfast. And then she'd go off and do her Tai Chi stuff, and I'd go out in the garden and do my banishing and my morning rituals. And part of my morning rituals would be my Ganesha chant. And one morning I was sitting in the patio in my old man's asana, and on my old man's asana, and it occurred to me, I'm going to let Ganesha do my banishing for me. And so when you rotate clockwise or diasil, that's an invoking direction. So if you spin on your axis, that way. That's an invoking thing. You're going with the sun. Okay. Not only that, but if you move in a clockwise motion, like a spiral or around a circle, that's also invoking. Okay. And if you start at the outside of your circle and you move in, like you're sucking the whole universe in with you, that's invoking. Okay. So if I had little Ganesha dancing like that, I could let my imaginary Ganesha, invoke for me. But first, you banish, okay? And banishing, if you rotate counterclockwise, that's a banishing direction. And if you start in the center and go around in a spiral like that, that's a banishing, because you're pushing everything in the universe away from you. Does that make sense? Okay. So I had little Ganesha pop out of my forehead, and he stood in front of me about, 3.5 feet tall or something like that, looking really cool. And Ganesha, for as big as he is very, very graceful. And he started to spin, and he started to go around me. Okay, and it's in like this golden spiral. Okay, so that by the time he was in front of me again, he was about 30 feet away from me. Only he was the same relative size. Okay, in my vision. So he was about 50 feet tall. Okay, Ganesh, 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 Ganesh. Okay. By the time I'll take you on the little trip. And I was doing it to the tune of Pop Goes the Weasel. That's how we started. Can you sort of see that? And you don't have to think anything. You just have to picture it in your head, and it's easy to do. It's effortless to do it. Well, there's Costa Mesa right there. And he started going like that, but it didn't take him very long. Then he was all the way over to Veer's house here in Mission Viejo. And the next time he came around, he was past Catalina. And after a while, it didn't take him long to get completely around the world and the orbit of the moon. And it didn't take long for him to get all the way around our solar system. And every time he came around in front of me again, he was gigantic. I could still see him in the same relative size, and I was the center of the universe around which he spun, until he took a big chunk of the Milky Way, and then finally all of the Milky Way, and then the local group of galaxies. And then till the local group of the galaxies just looked like smoke with all the other galaxies, until I couldn't picture anymore anything. And I had come around to 4 complete rounds of Pop Goes the Weasel, and only had 1 half round to go. Now Ganesh was infinitely big. There is no beyond of Ganesha. There is no beyond. And I had half a round of Pop Goes the Weasel left. And so I started to have Ganesh spin clockwise, invoking. Ganesh, 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 Ganesh. Into my right ear, sucking in an entire quarter of the totality of the universe. Second little part of that, Ganesh, 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 into the back of my head. There was nothing even to the right of me. And then until into the left ear. Ganesh, 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 Ganesha. There is no outside of me. And I'm Ganesha. There is no outside. Do you know how empowered you feel when there is no outside of you? It doesn't matter if you open your eyes. You're not looking outside of you anymore. You're looking inside of you, and it's all you. That is entering into the presence of God. You have integrated the supreme intelligence. That's the magician that will then do whatever magic that you're going to do. Now, can you imagine? Crowley once said, it doesn't matter if you learn magic to do something that is completely unworthy. If you want to steal something or to hurt someone or to do something very nasty and small, if you want to learn magic to do that, learn magic. Doesn't matter, because by the time you can do that, that is the last thing on your mind. And the first morning that I actually invoked all of the other little pissy invocations that I'd ever done my whole life, it all came into perspective what this is all about. And so if that is part of my regular invocation routine, by the time I'm through with that, every time, watch out. Half the time I just get through the invocation and I go, well, I guess I don't need to do anything but that. Okay, I've integrated my above and my below. Okay, when you're a Solomon, everything you do is magic, and there's a time and place for everything. And sometimes you really do need heavy lifting done. How many of you do Goetia? Solomon? Just a couple. Okay. Have you had mixed results?
It's effective.
Yeah.
Not always the way I expected.
Okay. Anything kind of blow up in your face? And were there demonic and infernal dimensions to how it worked out? Okay. Well, this idea that there's 72 spirits all comes from this 3 consecutive verses in Exodus that all have 70, are made up of 72 Hebrew letters. And here's a kind of a close-up of part of it. And it's not just any verse of the Bible. It's the most recognizable. You can forget all about Jacob and his ass and the begats and stuff like that. Nobody ever forgets Charlton Heston saying, "Behold his mighty hand." And that's kind of that concerns that part of that narrative. But anyway, it's they wanted to look deeper into God's name because they had so much time on their hands, these Kabbalists, and they spelled Jehovah Yod, Yod-He, Yod-He Vav, Yod-He Vav-He, and put it in a little triangle and added up the letters. It added up to 72, so they figured that you look hard into Jehovah, you'll come up with 72. Let's look for 72s everywhere. God, what people did before television. But anyway, that's where these 72 angels, called the angels of the divided named, or the Shem Hamaforash. But these 72 are more or less the demonic forces. These are some of my favorite illustrations of them. So anyway, it's the type of magic that you use a circle and a triangle, and you whip up a demon from hell, and you go have it do some heavy lifting for you. And so now that we know about the big G and all of that, shouldn't be instantly paranoid of demons from hell. If you really have a need for them, hey, it's a mistake not to use them. In a way, they're all parts of you. They're 1/72nd of you. Okay. Now you've got a lot of you together already. You can drive a car. You've got a job. You stay out of jail most of the time. You've mastered a lot, okay? But you still have issues. You still have problems. they're like spirits that you've got already living in you that you don't have control over. As a matter of fact, currently they have control over you in those aspects that are causing you trouble. The demon is your problem. Not, I have a problem, I think this demon can get rid of it. No. You evoke your problem. That's how he can help. Because it's him. And you protect yourself with the divine names and stuff. Oh, there's all sorts of stuff that classical magicians do. Put the demon into a triangle. This snake is so cool. He's got all of the divine name and archangelic names and stuff for 9 of the Sephir of the Tree of Life in this snake. See, you don't have to do this. This is one magician's artistic tour de force. Okay, a Kabbalistic magician's tour de force. But the basic thing is, you stand in a circle, you create a universe, a perfect universe. Out into a triangle, you evoke something from yourself that is currently out of control, and you attempt to control it. Give it new marching orders and get on with your life. Basically, that's it. But you got to be a Solomon to do that, or to do it effectively.